Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
A Watertown child care provider accused of killing a little boy in her care is scheduled to be back in court today. Amanda Walder is charged with murder and manslaughter in the 2021 death of 17-month-old Liam Koistinen.
Walder originally pleaded not guilty to the charges, but she is expected to change her plea today. Liam's mom and dad shared these videos and pictures of him following his death. According to court documents, Liam was at Walder's in-home daycare in July of 2021 when police were called for an unconscious child.
Liam suffered a brain bleed and later died of his injuries. Walder initially told investigators she had been firm with him, and it was possible she accidentally hit his head on a bed frame.
A Watertown fentanyl bus has landed 2 people in federal prison. Tuesday, a judge sentenced 32-year-old Jayvon McLeod to 40 years behind bars, which is the maximum sentence. Authorities arrested him last summer in Watertown. According to court documents, McLeod admits he drove to other states to bring the deadly drug back to South Dakota.
A woman who was also arrested during the Watertown bust entered a guilty plea yesterday. The judge sentenced Tiara Bissonette to more than 4 years behind bars. 2 others arrested during the Watertown bust have not entered pleas. A White River man was arrested accused of stabbing a man. The Millette County Sheriff's Office says it happened in White River just before 3 o'clock Monday morning. Authorities say a 54-year-old man was stabbed several times.
He was taken to IHS Hospital in Rosebud and was later flown to Rapid City Regional Hospital. A 29-year-old man was arrested at the scene for aggravated assault and attempted murder.
A Lincoln County deputy was taken to the hospital after a crash in pursuit early this morning. The sheriff's office says deputies were called to the 200 block of South Cliff Avenue in Harrisburg for a suspicious person at 4:15. As deputies arrived on scene, officials say the suspect fled and rammed into a patrol car.
It then led deputies on a short pursuit until it crashed at the intersection of 271st Street and Cliff Avenue. The 4 people inside then ran on foot. All 4 suspects were arrested and identified as teens. The deputy suffered minor injuries from the incident. Last week, national publication Mother Jones released an investigation into a secret group of lawmakers and anti-transgender organizations working on bills across the country. That group involved several South Dakota lawmakers. The whistleblower that exposed the emails shared her entire inbox with KELOLAND News.
Those emails showed Republican Fred Deutsch's 2020 effort to ban gender-affirming care for minors had impacts beyond South Dakota. His bill and the strategy behind it inspired similar legislation in Florida, Georgia, Utah, and Alabama. The group worked together on the legislation and on media strategies to address potential opposition.
Now let's get a check of our weather with meteorologist Scott Munt. Good morning, Scott.
All right. Good morning, everybody. We are looking at a mild day today. I think that will cover, I would say, much of the southern half of the area. Temperatures well above average. Northern KELOLAND stuck with some clouds this morning, fog, even some slick areas out there due to some of the freezing fog, where temperatures are in the teens this morning. For today in Sioux Falls, we'll have a high of 50. 55, I wouldn't be surprised, near 60 in Yankton, 55 in Pierce, 60 today in Rapid City. But notice the colder air in north central and northeastern South Dakota. Late tonight, going into your Friday morning, we have this winter storm watch. This covers much of Minnesota, the northwestern Iowa, and southeastern South Dakota. Timeline on this: during the early morning hours, we'll have that wintry mix to snow. It will become windy. During the afternoon, blizzard conditions looking likely eastern and southeastern KELOLAND. These winds will help bring in much colder air as we go through the evening hours. In fact, look for falling temperatures, I would say, throughout the day tomorrow. So try to get out there and enjoy today if you can. More details on your forecast with Brian coming up.
Thank you, Scott. Over the last month, 2 house explosions happened in the Madison area related to snow-covered gas meters.
A fire department in a neighboring small town is helping to prevent an accident like that from happening there. Members of the Arlington Volunteer Fire Department are helping clear snow and ice from people's gas meters on their home when requested.
One of our firefighters, Kevin Groon, talked to me on Monday and suggested that we look into doing it, and I had a good response from the department for volunteering to go out and do that. We got a couple crews that are going to go out each night upon request and clear out regulators behind houses.
They checked meters on 7 homes, 2 businesses, and 1 church Tuesday. If you are an Arlington resident and would like your meter checked, you can call the city's finance office to get your name on the list. One of the most successful golfers in South Dakota history is taking a swing at professional golf.
30 years after winning his first SDGA amateur championship, Sioux Falls native Ryan Janza turns 50 next month and plans to start playing qualifying events for PGA Tour Champions tournaments.
I've probably spent the last couple years with it in the back of my mind, wanting to do it. My wife Julie has been an incredible support. Certainly couldn't even, think about taking that venture without support from home and family and friends. So yeah, it's definitely been on my mind, and I'm excited to get started.
Janza is guaranteed to play in at least one tournament, the Sanford International. Yesterday, he received the first sponsors exemption for the 2023 tournament, which runs September 11th through the 17th in Sioux Falls. The SDSU women are back in the big dance for the first time since 2021. The Jackrabbits make their way to Blacksburg, Virginia to take on the 8th seed USC. Tomorrow is media day with the team practicing at 3:30.
The Jackrabbits and Trojans tip off at 7 o'clock Friday night. KELOLAND's Ian Sachs is joining the Jacks in Virginia. His coverage starts tonight with a live report. That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right. Well, a couple things to consider when we look at the weather forecast. Here's the month of March so far across North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, and a little bit of Nebraska and Iowa. Basically, Sioux Falls sitting at about 5 to 6 inches of new snow so far. We're about halfway through the month. We've got more weather to go. We've had over a foot so far this month in Aberdeen. That northeast corner has been hit awfully hard. We got parts of the Roberts County, Sisseton area, anywhere from 12 to 20 inches of new snow. The numbers are less, but they've still been around Brookings, 5 to 9 over there into southwest Minnesota, and some big numbers in the southwest, over a foot. So what's next? Well, we're going to add more snow to this map. I think we're going to fill in some gaps in the southeast, and we've got a winter storm watch, not necessarily for major amounts of snow, but it's enough. It's going to come fast, and it's also going to be accompanied by a lot of wind. So it's a blizzard that's the possibility here in the forecast. Let's take a look at futurecast. So low pressure coming in, looks like they're between Goodland and Concordia, Kansas. Now that's going to set up a strip of rain to snow across the Cornhusker State tomorrow morning. Some of that's going to be jetting into south central South Dakota. We think right now that that transition will occur early in the morning in Sioux Falls, and the weather in the mid-morning into the early afternoon, that's when the majority of that snow is going to be falling. And a lot of it could happen in about a 3 to 6 hour time span. That's kind of our thinking right now. And then, of course, the wind is picking up as it's snowing, and the wind will continue to blow tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night. And really, to some extent, we're not going to get rid of the wind until maybe the weekend. It's not going to be as strong, but it'll still be 25 to 35 miles per hour all day on Friday. Some of these gusts could even be a little bit more than that. So I think we'd better pay attention to the weather even after the storm departs. They're still blowing snow across these rural highways and interstates, and that's kind of our trouble. Futurecast update today. Don't forget, we could hit 70 in south central KELOLAND. If not winter, it'll probably be Presho, Murdo, White River, those areas. We're watching that. 67, fill up, that's pretty mild. Sioux Falls can hit 50. We've put it in the forecast. I think we'll be awfully close. It'll be a mild evening. Numbers still in the 40s. And then here comes that snow band. Now look at that. See, it knocks on the door on Sioux Falls early, probably 7 in the morning. It could start up, and then it goes downhill after that. And that's what's hitting there in the forecast. So pay attention. Obviously, our snow forecast accounts for this 3 to 6 inch snow. Probably not going to get over 6 in most areas. This 3, 4, 5 inch number range looks pretty likely. But again, a lot of wind, and that could easily be over 50 miles per hour at times. And that's plenty of wind, even with 2 inches of snow. I would say even Watertown, your forecast, 40 mile an hour winds. Get a couple inches of snow, you're not in great shape either. So this system will be watched here for a lot of those parameters the next couple of days. Let's wrap it up. Your forecast details today. We're near 50 Sioux Falls, We're down, falling temperatures tomorrow through the 20s. That snow gets awfully fluffy and drier consistency by the end of it. We're down in the single digits for lows. The entire weekend is cold. Sub-zero wind chills all day Saturday, most of Sunday. Not warm. Spring officially arrives early next week. It feels a little better by then. Aberdeen also back to the 30s by the end of the forecast. But we're really struggling here. Temperatures are way off the mark. Pier also a lot cooler. Not a bullseye on this one. You're going to get maybe a glancing shot of some snow. You'll pick up again at least a dose of wind with this pattern change. Rapid City, probably gust of 40, but also most importantly, those temperatures dropping into the weekend. Check out more details. A lot to say there online at KELOLAND.com.